Borderland Ranger, Huntmaster, Angels, Thragtusk. He has 1 of Collective Blessing, 1 of Devil's Play, 3 Bonfires, 4 Lingering Souls. You know, interesting. Standard Naya deck. Plays Garruk Relentless over Garruk Primal Hunter, which he scratched out.
Yeah.
So I think it was
wrote the wrong one down there.
It was basically a toss-up for him. Yeah. But it looks like he's splashing black for Lingering Souls, and out of the board he has Sever the Bloodline and Slaughter Games. Okay. So interesting deck.
As we do see, both players have kept their hand. We're going to move along here. Forest from Grayson. Tyler has a Blood Crypt. In this matchup, basically, you know, that creature deck versus what I would classify as a board control deck. Things lean one way or the other?
Well, Grayson kind of needs to get out to a fast start, because if Tyler is able to get to 6 mana and play an Olivia, the Olivia can easily take control of the game.
Okay.
So it's going to be interesting to see. Again, Grayson has the turn 2 Farseek, which is probably the most important card in his deck.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the most important card on both sides, honestly, as we're going to see a Rootbound Crag here.
Yeah, their decks are just too top-heavy. They need to jump ahead, and that's huge in this matchup, having a Farseek if your opponent doesn't, because he's just be able to get everything going much faster now.
As Tyler does not have his Farseek, we're going to see a Blood Crypt, and now we're going to see Lingering Souls. So Grayson's going to get things started right away. Obviously, only one way to make that really buff those with the 1 Collective Blessing.
Yeah,
but
it would be pretty exciting if he draws that, because I've actually never seen that card in Standard. But it's quite good in his deck.
And Lingering Soul is just going to go unanswered so far, as we've seen Overgrown Tomb here from Tyler. Now, Tyler, as far as mass removal is concerned, or ways to just get a lot of tokens off the board, I mean, you're looking. Mortars. Yeah, he's got 3 copies of that, but you don't find you don't find a ton of effects like that. You know, no Bonfire the Damned. He does have 1 main deck of Golgari Charm. He can use the -1/-1 ability on that, but that's not going to kill what just entered play, which is our first Thragtusk of the day. I know you're new to this, so get used to it, because we're going to be doing that for a long time.
Oh, really? People play that card?
Yeah, believe it or not, you know, gaining 5 life, making 3/3 beast a bunch, it's going to happen a lot. So I hope you enjoy that.
Yeah. So, but the thing is about Lingering Souls, again, Tyler's best card against this deck is going to be Olivia.
Yeah, almost certain.
So, you know, if he's able to get that going, it's going to be tough. But I don't know, Tyler's stuck on mana now. This is going to be
this could be a quick one.
Struggle. Yeah.
You see another Searing Spear here, taking out the beast token. Thragtusk, too good. Bites 2 Searing Spears. Lingering Soul tokens are going to come across. Let's see if Grayson has any sort of a follow-up.
He's got a Huntmaster, huh?
Yeah, that'll work.
Well, that's great, because he also has a Restoration in his hand. So if the Huntmaster is able to survive to his turn, then he can pass, let it flip, and then resto it. So it could be a pretty good sequence of events for Grayson.
And that's why we hired you. Analysis like that.
Look at that. Top-notch analysis.
Absolutely. Quite the combo Restoration Angel and Huntmaster the Fells is.
Yeah. So Tyler really needs a Pillar of Flame, which he doesn't have.
This is not
allows
good.
it to flip. This is, yeah, basically the worst case scenario.
Not good. Huntmaster flips into Ravager of the Fells. We'll see 2 Ghost Stairs.
Swinging for 8. Probably passes the turn back. Casts a Restoration Angel.
Abrupt Decay that.
He has a Restoration Angel.
No, why no
does
Restoration?
He have a Maybe
he
I was
does.
wrong.
No, he does. I saw it. Surprised he's not casting it.
Why would you want to generate that kind of advantage?
when the opponent has no lands, just be nice.
Clipper Nation in the house.
Yeah. Old Clippers. Old Clippers. As we see 4 damage coming across here for Grayson. I'm truly surprised. I mean, maybe he has something else up his sleeve here. But I think I can't imagine a better spot there to cast a Restoration Angel.
Well, you could cast Lingering Souls Farseek, which, you know, that's something else you can do.
And he is just passing back now.
Does he just want to go end of turn Restoration Angel? Maybe he's afraid of a top deck Bonfire. I mean,
we are going to see Restoration
Angel. He just wanted to cast the Restoration
Angel. Maybe just a slight hiccup, honestly.
Yeah.
And we're going to see ultimate price here.
Yeah, I don't understand that, because you can basically generate the same amount of power if you just cast a Farseek and flashback around yourself.
Yeah.
But,
and also harder to get those things off of the board.
Yeah, I mean, he could Bonfire for 1, I suppose, but I'd be fine with that. I have another Lingering Souls in my hand, and I still have the Restoration here.
And we
But
are
I
going
mean,
to see
by not casting it on the, I mean, clearly not casting it on the Huntmaster was a huge mistake.
And we do see excuse me, Lingering Souls. Flashback. Tyler's
Tyler's got a Huntmaster.
furrows his brow as he draws a Woodland Cemetery, saying, I can actually start casting spells now. 4 Huntmaster of the Fells in his deck, 1 of which in his hand, and we are going to see it enter play here. He's going to move up to 8 life, and he's going to get himself a Wolf token. Tyler, again, for you guys at home, Grand Prix San Antonio champion. I was at that tournament. Yeah. 67. That still doesn't pay.
67.
Still doesn't pay. After all these years, still doesn't get you anything.
You were the 3rd loser.
Yes, I was. So we see a Farseek here in Grayson's hand to go along with that Lingering Souls that he's holding on to. Temple Garden and a Huntmaster,
okay.
yeah.
So
He's on his own.
That was a good draw. But the fact is that Tyler's still in this game. I mean, if he can top deck a Sever of Souls, a Sever of the Bloodline, drops to 4. Yeah, I'm not sure. If Grayson plays the Huntmaster now,
I think it might be too much. If he plays Lingering Souls, however.
if he plays Lingering Souls, he has an out.
Well, outs are available now, as we do see Lingering Souls here, and he did use the black mana to tap that, so it doesn't look like he has intentions of flashing it back. We'll see if he's going to cast that Farseek or not. Alright, we are going to see the Farseek now as well, so Sever the Bloodline, 1 copy in Tyler's deck.
Does he have Bonfire or no?
No Bonfire, 3 Museum Warriors, obviously he can't get there right now, 1 Sever the Bloodline, and 1 copy of Golgari Charm.
So, Grayson gave him some outs. Let's see what happens. He also has a Thragtusk in his hand, so if he's able to play a land that is not a pain land, he'll be able to survive 1 more turn to get another draw, but it looks like he drew a Blood Crypt.
Huntmaster, no fear. Attack a U for 2. Down to 25. We are going to see Blood Creep put him down to 2. Thragtusk going to put him up to 7. So he's out of range right now. The attack will put him down to 1, giving him another turn.
So he gets another turn. Grayson can still play a Huntmaster.
Grayson draws his card. Looks like a Cavern of Souls is the draw step for Grayson. There we go. No time for hanging back now, as we see an attack here for 6. Gonna knock Tyler down to 1. Tyler, by our math, and I think Osip and I are pretty smart, 2 outs. We're gonna see Lingering Souls flash back.
Is he playing the Huntmaster? He's not playing the
Nope.
Huntmaster.
Museum Mortar's the draw.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't have the
That's
land,
a
and he's
shame.
gonna concede a
Yep.
bit of a tease.
Yeah.
Tease there with the Museum Mortar. If it was Bonfire, we
Well,
got ourselves a game of Magic there.
in
what
fairness,
we
if
have.
Tyler just cast the, if Grayson just cast the Restoration Angel on his Huntmaster,
Completely different
was
game.
over. yeah.
Absolutely. So Grayson, up a game here with his Dark Naya deck. Tyler, going to be playing for this game. Where you're going to find his sideboard, 4 copies of Slaughter Games. Not so much here. 4 copies of Liliana of the Veil against his Lingering Souls deck. I don't think so. An additional ultimate price along with a Golgari Charm will probably find 2 Garrett Primal Hunters, potentially, along with 2 copies of Dreadbore and 1 Rakdos return. So he's got some cards that he can move in and out here, but most importantly, in these sideboard games, and I agree with you overall, he's going to need to find Olivia.
Yeah. And now after board, Grayson has Oblivion Rings and a Sever of the Bloodline to deal with an Olivia. The question is, what does he board out? I could see taking out the Pilgrims in this matchup. Maybe the Devil's Play. Maybe the Garrick's. He's got basically 2 Garrick Primal Hunters in his sideboard, 3 Oblivion Rings, and 1 Sever the Bloodline. He's got Rootborn defenses, which aren't very good, a Silklash Spider, Rest in Peace, Intrepid Hero, Slaughter Games. But I think Primal Hunter, Sever, and Oblivion Ring are the only cards he wants. So that's 6 cards. I could see him taking out the Pilgrims and the 2 Garrick Relentless. Because I don't think he wants Pilgrim on the draw against a deck that he assumes has Bonfire,
Okay.
Mizium Mortars.
Yeah, I was going to ask you just the rationale behind boarding out Pilgrim.
Yeah, I think Pilgrim's great on the play.
Okay.
But the thing is that it's really not that great on the draw against a deck as removal heavy as Jund midrange.
Okay.
Yeah, you can jump the curve, but if your opponent has Farseek, then it won't really matter that much anyway. And I think that in a matchup like this where your opponent has so much removal, it's really going to come down to an attrition battle.
Okay.
And I don't think top decking a card like Pilgrim late in the game is really something that you can afford to do. I think you want to just overload your deck with either ways to answer cards like Olivia or Garruk Primal Hunter, and just hope to get to a point where you have 5 mana, so all your draws are either lands or good action spells, like Lingering Souls, Restoration, Frag Tusk, Primal Hunter, stuff like that.
It's kind of unconventional when people have Mana Accelerants in their deck, Birds of Paradise, Noble Hierarch, what have you. It's not a card. Those aren't cards that people have ever considered sideboarding out.
Yeah, and the thing is that the only things that Grayson can really do with his Pilgrims are cast turn 2 Lingering Souls and maybe a Smiter, but he only has 2 Smiters, so I don't think they're that great in this matchup. And the fact is, he has to sacrifice something, and of all the things in his deck, he can't take out Farseek. I don't think he wants to take out Lingering Souls. Probably not the Bonfires. Certainly not any of his high-end creatures. So, if you want those Oblivion Rings and you want those Primal Hunters, which I think you do, you got to make some concessions. And I think Pilgrim's probably the worst card in this matchup.
Got to sideboard out something.
Yeah.
Can't board up.
No.
For numerous reasons, one of which just not a good idea in general. But Tyler is going to be on the play this game. I still do think this matchup's a little bit interesting. I think that things kind of do favor Tyler. Obviously, that game he didn't draw any lands, but I think this is the kind of deck that Jund does kind of prey on here, especially with no top-end card like Angel Serenity to get Grayson back into the game. He stops basically at Thrag Tusk on his curve. He does have that one Collective Blessing and that one Devil's Play for reach, but you don't find Angel Serenity, a card you normally find in Naya decks here, to be able to kind of take over in this matchup. So.
Yeah, that would be a great card to have in this matchup, but he still has Restoration Angel, and that card can swing things in your favor. It's just hard to blink things in this matchup because Tyler is aware of that card, and he's always doing things in the main phase and making sure that Grayson's not going to have an opportunity to get full advantage of the Restoration Angel. Although I did see Grayson draw a Collective Blessing, which is pretty exciting.
He did. That was his draw step for the turn, as we're going to see Overgrown Tomb come into play. Grayson going to take 2, and I think we're going to see a Farseek here again from him. So both games he's able to Farseek and accelerate himself, while Tyler, a deck that has 4 Farseeks as well, has not had one either game, and he has had mana troubles because of that. Farseek, as you said, just huge in these matchups.
It might really all come down to that, because, jumping ahead of your opponent and regaining the turn is just very important in these green matchups.
So we'll see what Tyler's able to muster on his turn after these players do shuffle and cut each other's decks really quickly, as he does just have a 3rd land. He does his pass back. Again, he doesn't have a lot of things to do on turn 3. He has a very removal-heavy deck. You're not even going to find a card like we saw last round in Rakdos Kirun, a card that you do see in Jund decks on occasion, but he doesn't even have those here. So we're going to see Cavern of Souls, and I think we're going to see Huntmaster of the Fells again.
Yeah, and now that we know Grayson has the Collective Blessing this game and the mana to cast it, that can easily just completely blow up in the game. Basically, any Lingering Souls he draws is threatening lethal.
You see Searing Spear take care of the Huntmaster right away. Grayson does get his 2 life in his Wolf token. You're going to see a Huntmaster of Tyler's Own, a card that, at Pro Tour Barcelona, I know a tournament that you did play in, just defined the Green Mirrors, before Thragtusk came along, of course.
Yeah, I mean, to the point where if you're on the draw, you question whether or not you could even keep them in, because you know how these games are going to play out. It's basically come down to they cast theirs, you cast theirs, then they pass. There wasn't a lot of instant speed removal in the format, so you basically just lose your Huntmaster, and you generated no advantage whatsoever. So we ended up actually boarding out our Huntmasters in the mirror when we were on the draw.
Now you're going to see after Grayson does attack with his Wolf token, you are going to see an Oblivion Ring. Going to be taking out Tyler's Huntmaster Fells, again, just because of the importance of this card in these mirrors before Ravager of the Fells comes into play, basically flipping and starts generating its advantage. And one thing that we will bring up on the screen for you guys is Collective Blessing, as we see a Farseek here from Tyler, again, because that is a card that is in Grayson's hand, going to be coming into play, I think, pretty soon. And I'm not entirely sure that Tyler has a good way to go about beating these creatures getting so big.
Yeah, I mean, it basically turns off his Searing Spears. Mizium Mortars becomes much less effective against his higher-end threats. So it's going to be interesting to see how the game plays out. I think Grayson might actually just... I know he has a Thragtusk in his play. I think he might, since Tyler doesn't have any real pressure in play, he might just drop the Blessing, then play Thragtusk to make sure it doesn't die to Searing Spear or Mizium Mortars.
We're going to see a Wolf come across here for Tyler. Looking at Tyler's deck list, again, he has the card that is actually huge in this matchup for him, oddly enough, is Golgari Charm, as it can kill those Lingering Souls tokens. Would have been out for him in the first game, and it does destroy enchantments, so it could actually take care of the Collective Blessing that is going to be coming here soon, as we see Grayson move a Thragtusk here to the front.
I don't think he has the 6 mana. He has a Borderland Ranger.
That would do the trick if he wants to cast it, but I think it looks like he's going to be going with Thragtusk or Huntmaster. He has both in his hand. All right, there we go. So Thragtusk going to hit play, going to bring Grayson up to 23, and give him a 5-3, because why not?
Solid play.
Abrupt Decay.
Wow.
Ooh. All right. Abrupt Decay taking care of the Oblivion Ring. You're going to see Huntmaster come back for Tyler. 2 more life and a Wolf token, and we might see that that play of just drawing his card, passing the turn, and flipping into Ravager of the Fells coming.
Yeah, unless he has an Olivia, I don't see why he wouldn't want to pass the turn right here. The only issue would be Grayson does have a Restoration Angel.
Yeah.
So he might not want that Thragtusk in play. But he has a Searing Spear, so he can respond. I think you pass here.
Yeah, depending on the contents of
Oh,
okay.
That's certainly a...
Jeez.
That is certainly
Is that the full
card
grip?
you
That's
do
the
not
full
want to
grip.
pass.
Oh! Rakdos returned for 4, knocking Grayson down to 19, which is kind of relevant.
Yeah, you know.
But all the cards might be a little bit more relevant as they were all spells. A Collective Blessing
Oh,
gone.
I really wanted to see that Blessing hit the
I know
table.
you did. I
Come
could tell.
on.
I could tell.
Unbelievable.
Collective Blessing down, Huntmaster down, Borderland Ranger down, and a Mystery card down as well, but it doesn't matter now. They're all gone. As you guys do see Rakdos return on the screen. We've seen a lot of that card today so far. But it doesn't stop what's on the board, and here comes Thragtusk and the Wolf token. But I think that, you know, if you're Tyler, I think you can beat creatures. I think that's what your deck is designed to do.
I think Tyler's pretty comfortable with the board state right now.
So we're going to see these Wolves trade off here. Thragtusk is going to come in, deal Tyler 5. Going to put him down to 15. Let's see what Grayson's draw was. Okay.
Wow.
All
Quite
right.
the draw.
I like the main phase of it, too.
Yeah, not messing around.
Yeah.
He knows Tyler has Searing Spear. Let's just get the advantage we can while we can.
So Grayson's going to main phase the Restoration Angel. He's going to get himself 5 life. Going to get himself a Beast token. An interaction that you guys at home had better be familiar with at this point if you've played any Standard at all. So can Tyler overcome this? Obviously, Mizium Mortars would be a huge draw here, but he is just going to pass the turn back. He's going to flip this into Ravager of the Fells. Going to deal 2 somewhere and deal 2 to Grayson.
I like dealing 2 to Thragtusk here.
Okay.
Basically shuts down that attack for this turn. Not going to be able to kill anything else anyway, so. Grayson's only good attack is with the Restoration Angel.
So let's see what Grayson drew. I got a feeling it's a spell.
Really?
I don't think it's a land. It's that kind of into it. That's why they hired me. Okay. That's why I'm here. That's how we see the Beast token coming through.
If he does, if he attacks with everything, this is great for Tyler, because Tyler basically just put the Ravager of the Fells in front of the Beast and put the token in front of the Thragtusk. and suddenly he's in
An
driver's seat
ultimate,
again.
jeez, an ultimate price, the Restoration Angel.
And so Grayson's left with just a 3-3.
What is this card? I can't. That has to be a spell if you attack like that.
I wouldn't go that far. It could certainly be nothing.
This has to be something. I can't imagine making that
giving
attack.
Grayson a little too much credit here.
Oh no!
So now this flips again, and suddenly Tyler is back in the driver's seat. Which is kind of funny that we have to say that after he cast Rakdos for turn for 4, making him discard his whole hand. But now Tyler's looking pretty good.
Yeah. So Searing Spear finishes off the Beast token. I mean, Tyler has a Huntmaster here and the Wolf token, and looks as though Grayson's card is just a land.
But this is just how this epitomizes how silly Jun can be sometimes. Tyler did so many things to Grayson, and if Grayson draws a Thragtusk, he's still in pretty decent shape.
Yeah, sure.
It's like Tyler's has one card left in his hand, or even if Grayson top decked a Bonfire there, it's...
What is that card? That's what I want to know.
I think
this is an Absence Pilgrim. Yeah.
Well, I guess you could ignore everything I said while they were saying.
Well, except for your point of potentially sideboarding it out.
You know.
As you see, it does come back to bite him now, as it is a terrible draw in the late game. Ravager and the Wolf token coming across here. Absence Pilgrim, you're so good on turn 1.
I wonder what he boarded out then, because we saw the Collective Blessing. Maybe the Smiter? I don't know why you'd want to board out Smiter in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, 3-mana, a potential turn 2 4/4, I think, is where you want to be.
Especially if you keep in the Pilgrim. I can't imagine wanting it. So it'll be interesting to see what he boarded out. But
Tyler just passed the turn right back.
Bonfire? No.
Is that you? What that is
Looks
a
like
Temple Garden and a second Absence Pilgrim.
Well,
that's what that is.
If 1 is good, 2 has to be better. At least you could double block the Wolf now.
Well, if we're looking for positives, you found one. As we see Absence Pilgrim come into play. I've never seen that kind of foreshadowing before.
I know.
Coverage. Just proving your point very, very quickly. Just about Absence Pilgrim not being very good, unconventional way to sideboard, and just looking horrible right now.
It looks, well, we'll see. If he had a Collective Blessing in play, I'd bite my tongue.
What was it with the ifs and the nuts and the candies?
If ifs and nuts or candy and butts.
Yeah. Tyler here, thinking over his options. I mean, realistically, he only really has one card to play around in Restoration Angel right now.
Well, Bonfire is obviously a card that he has to be aware of. But, you know, giving Grayson's at 10, it's pretty... Well, that certainly takes care of the Restoration Angel issue.
That's going to clear that right
now
up.
we can just go right in. Grayson has Restoration Angel. He doesn't do that much.
As you do see, Mizium Mortars with Overload. A card that, to me, if they would have printed this card 4 years ago, we would have gone bonkers as we see Thragtusk off the top here. But now this is a card that's like, sees some fringe play on occasion. Even though, you know, it's just like a beautiful card, deals 4 here, can kill everything. It's just
it's
like,
okay. Should have been an instant.
Yeah. It's crazy to me that this card does not see more play. Absolutely crazy.
It's a heavy color requirement. 3 red is, you know, red's not that great of a color in this format. To the point where I want to be heavy red. You know?
That's true. That's true. Now we see Thragtusk here for Grayson.
Tyler. Oh.
We see Dreadbore here for Tyler.
Attack with both. He's forced to block the Ravager.
So long as we have the Lytle correct. Okay, I thought we had. Yeah, he's at 9.
Oh, because of Thragtusk.
Yeah. Don't want to miss that mandatory gain 5 life trigger. As we see Ravager come across here. Wolf stays at home.
And again, just to show you how silly Jun can be, a top deck Bonfire, and the game's right back into Grayson's control. But it looks like
I hope it's not. I hope it's not another Absence Pilgrim.
I hope it is another Absence Pilgrim. I hope he draws nothing but Absence Pilgrims for the rest of the game. Oh, there's the Cavernous Soul on humans.
Oh no, no.
There it is. Number 3. So he kept in at least 3 Absent Pilgrims. We know that much.
That is accurate.
So now we can block the Ravager repels.
Again, accentuating the positive in every situation.
I'm an optimist.
When Grayson does come back and he will watch this match, I'm sure. So I mean, it's just something to learn. You know, it's unfamiliar for people to board out mana accelerants.
A Garruk Primal Hunter would have been pretty fantastic right there. And but we'll see. I mean, again, Tyler's just drawing lands, so if he's able to double block and take care of the Ravager right here, Grayson can top deck a number of cards to put him right back in this game. I'm not saying he's going to win, but you know, he has cards like Thragtusk and Garruk Primal Hunter that can swing the game back in favor. But again, you know, when you draw all land, it doesn't really matter that much.
But you're going to see Sun Petal Grove coming here for Grayson. Tyler is floating out very badly. He's going to knock Grayson down to 3, and I agree with you. There's a lot of cards that he can draw here to take advantage of this. But we have a Thragtusk here from Tyler off of the top. That's going to hit play, bring him up to 22, but most importantly, give him a way to attack. And Rootbound Crag is not going to do it. So we're going to go to game 3. And maybe we'll see Avacyn's Pilgrim. So now that he's on the play, should he leave it in?
I'm still not a huge fan of that card, even on the play. It depends. Again, it depends on the kind of removal that your Tyler has. I don't know if Grayson's aware of, you know, bonfires, and you know, he saw Mizium Mortars, so
sure.
No, I don't know. Pilgrim's just so weak in this matchup. It's hard to be super aggressive against a Jund mid-range deck because they have a lot of removal, so they can easily Dreadbore your turn 2 Smiter, and then Thragtusk just gains them a bunch of life anyway, and Huntmaster. So it's hard to be hyper aggressive with a Dark Naya deck. You know, you're not going to be. It's not like you have a bunch of 1-drops where you can go 1-drop turn 2, 1-drop 1-drop, and then you can put them in burn range. You know. Your best bet with a Dark Naya deck is going turn 1 Avacyn Pilgrim, turn 2 Loxodon Smiter, turn 4 Huntmaster. And that's pretty good, but Tyler has a number of cards that can get him out of it. He can go turn 2 Farseek, turn 3 Huntmaster Zone, and then turn 4 Thragtusk. So, you know, I don't love the Pilgrims in this matchup. I would probably board them out, but Grayson clearly knows his deck better than I do, and he found a way to bring in the Oblivion Rings, which he might be boarding out now that he knows about the Abrupt Decays.
Sure. That did come back to bite him that game.
He knew about the Abrupt Decays game 1, so it didn't stop him. You know,
it's kind of tough too, right? Because you know, you can make an argument for, you know, boarding in the Living Ring or not boarding it in, but it's tough because, and I agree with you, overall, we talked about this at the top, he's so weak to Olivia that you might need to board in just a narrow card like Oblivion Ring just to hedge against Olivia Voldaren.
Honestly, I might want to just, I think you might need to keep in your Garruk Relentless when you're on the play, and you definitely bring in the Sever. Bring in the Primal Hunters. I don't know, maybe you don't bring in all 3 Oblivion Rings. He does have Devil's Play, so he'll have Devil's Play, Sever, and Oblivion Ring. He has answers to an Olivia. And the thing is, Tyler's probably not going to risk playing an Olivia on turn 4. He'll probably wait until turn 6, or at least when he has 6 mana.
Get it out there, get a shot in. Put it out of range for a lot of different things.
Like I like Relentless when you're on the play, because if you both have parity on mana and you go Huntmaster and they go Huntmaster, if you can play a Garruk to kill his Huntmaster to ensure that, because it's risky to pass if they have a Searing Spear.
Absolutely.
You know, so I don't know, and plus Garruk Relentless will also kill the Primal Hunter, which he can assume that Tyler would have in his deck.
Yeah.
So, Grayson has a lot of decisions to make, but I think Pilgrim's probably the weakest card in the deck.
Again, it's a situation where you do have to board out something, and I can definitely see an argument for boarding it out. I mean, you're making a compelling one, and it didn't hurt that game 2. We saw 3 of them show up, and not so good, not so good. So we'll see if he boards him.
I like jumping the curve on the play. I really do. So, you know, being able to go turn 3 Huntmaster, turn 4 Thragtusk, it might be enough to want to keep the Pilgrims in. It's just, you know, what do you board out? Do you board out your bonfires?
Players, we're looking for Anthony Caballero and Matthew Ridge.
A gentleman shake?
Gentleman shake?
You ever shake in between game 2 and game 3?
He must be Canadian. The game 3 Pre-game shake is something I'm not familiar with.
Can Canadians be Clippers fans? Is that legal?
Why not?
Huh?
Were they going to be Raptors fans?
Yeah, give me some Raptor news. Jeez. Hey, Raptors looking pretty good this season, all right?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Pretty good for the Eastern Conference.
That's right. That's right. A couple of games under 500. We have a mulligan. Tyler going to go down to 6. Grayson going to stick on his 7. Now, here's an interesting question. You know, we see these two players are basically playing two mid-range board control decks. No manipulation in their decks whatsoever, unless you want to count Garrett Primal Hunter, which is a form of manipulation, but it's not an early one. You know, do you find it correct? Like, you know, what metagames do you find it correct to play this kind of deck versus a deck that actually has manipulation, like a Thought Scour, like a Think Twice, like a Sphinx's Revelation, you know, versus just having a board control deck with just like a lot of powerful effects and hoping you draw correctly?
Well, I think Slaughter Games is a pretty powerful card against Sphinx's Revelation decks. So I understand the appeal, and you have cards like Thragtusk and Huntmaster of Fells, and a lot of removal, so that you're gonna hedge against creature-based decks. The thing is, you know, when you run against a blue deck, that's both a good player and you don't draw your Slaughter Games, it's going to be an uphill battle. But the problem is that blue as a color, unless you like have Planeswalkers, there's, you know, it's kind of a fragile deck. You can't close out games quickly, and between Slaughter Games and Rakdos Return, the Jund deck puts a lot of pressure on the control decks. So I think, and historically I've never been a fan of Jund midrange, but I think between Slaughter Games and cards like Thragtusk and Rakdos Return and Cavern of Souls, they're in a much better position than they have been in the past to be successful against control. So I don't think it's a terrible choice.
So we do see the players are underway here. Grayson, all 3 games turn 2 Farseek.
Yeah, and
big deal.
Tyler if Tyler doesn't have a Farseek here on the draw, it's going to be a struggle for him this whole game.
Woodland Cemetery, and there it is again. It's almost the story of this match, really.
Yeah, it's just you're just so far ahead.
And now we're going to see a Borderland Ranger here search out Grayson's 4th land, so he's going to make sure that he hits his land drops and does have that 2/2 to start putting a little bit of pressure here on Tyler. But it does suck that, you know, all 3 games Tyler has not had a Farseek, a card that's just crucial to making his deck work.
Yeah.
Such a big deal.
But it looks like Grayson doesn't have the type of hand that can really abuse the early turns, so Tyler can easily still draw out of this if he's able to stick a Huntmaster Thragtusk. And then eventually Rakdos Return can end things pretty quickly. And he does have the Olivia this game, as well as the Mizzing Warriors.
So we have our Overgrown Tomb. We're going to see a Sunpetal Grove here from Grayson. Borderland Ranger will probably be the first step that we take this turn.
I guess my guess would be it's Farseek Borderland in order to maximize his mana.
Sure.
Or he can pass.
And just make you look
and
foolish.
Just try to get value out of a Restoration Angel. But again, you know, I really think you want to maximize your mana every turn. Why not get, you know, Restoration Angel's so good in this matchup. You want to get as much value out of it as you can. Blinking a Borderland Ranger isn't the most value that you can generate, you know? Yeah. You really, and the fact that he has another Borderland and a Farseek in his hand, he can actually get to a point where he can play a Huntmaster and a Resto in the same turn.
Yep.
So I don't really like the play of just passing right here.
Yeah, plus, I mean, even something as minor as just countering a Searing Spear or Ultimate Price, you know, there are a lot of things that he can do with Restoration Angel in this matchup, and I agree with you that it might actually just be the best card that he has against Tyler's deck.
Yeah, why would you waste it here? You're basically going to, blink your Borderland Ranger and get another land? You could have gotten 2 lands out of your deck this turn and maximized your mana.
But what you see at the end...
They just use the Township.
Yeah, you see a Gavney Township activation.
That's, you know...
It's hard to argue, is that even better?
Okay, you can attack for 3, but...
And that's what you're gonna see. Obviously Tyler not gonna make the trade there with Olivia, so Grayson's gonna knock Tyler down to 15.
The only way this sequence is correct is if Tyler stalls the mana. That's pretty much it. I'd much rather play a second Borderland Ranger and have Farseek the last turn, and then activate a Township this turn with 2 of the guys in play.
Judge Robert Pittman, please come to the main event stage. Judge Robert Pittman to the main
So now you're going to see the Farseek. You're going to see 2 of them. And the Olivia here just ready to take over this game now.
Well, the Olivia's not going to be able to do much this turn. I think the optimal sequence for Tyler is 5th land, attack, Thragtusk, and then next turn he has a Mizium. If he has a 6th land, he can cast Mizium Mortars. So he's in good shape. I mean, Grayson really hasn't committed much to his board. He could have had 2 3/3s in play as opposed to just a Borderland.
So you're going to see Olivia come across here for 3. Very safe attack here. You're going to see a Dragon Skull Summit. Now you're going to see a Thragtusk. Now not only is Tyler ahead on the board right now, but in the back of Grayson's mind is, I have to catch up on the board, and I have to find a way to be able to beat this Olivia.
And I know Grayson's plan is he's basically going to cast the Bonfire here to 3, but he could have done that with 2 3/3s in play.
Yeah.
So.
And you're already starting to see him move that mana around for that Bonfire for 3 now. And it will take care of Olivia, and it will take care of the first half of the Thragtusk, as he's going to offer up the old attack here. Would you like to trade?
Yeah, I mean, I like this play. Because there's a good chance Tyler might not even block. But
now, how do you feel about this attack? He's attacking into the Thragtusk versus he bonfires first for 3, kills the Olivia, puts the beast in play, and then attacking.
I like this attack better just because you force Tyler to make a decision.
Okay.
If Grayson bonfires first, Tyler's decision becomes a lot easier. I mean, if before the bonfire, Tyler has to be, okay, does he have a Restoration Angel? Does he have, is he just going to activate his Scavany again? I'm not really sure what his plan is here. Whereas, if you bonfire first, it's pretty obvious what his plan is.
Sure. Okay. So you do see Tyler takes the 3 from the Borderland Ranger, and now you're going to see the bonfire for 3 from Grayson, as we predicted. Going to take care of the Thragtusk and the Olivia. Going to put a 3/3 beast into play. And I mean, it's not a bad bonfire of the Damned, but again, I think that if you're Tyler, the bonfire of the Damned could have been a lot worse for him.
It could have been a lot worse.
So he's feeling okay as you see a Rootbound Crag drawn, and he's got 4 spells in his hand, one of which is a Dreadbore.
The problem is that Tyler just didn't do enough to press his advantage here. And I mean, Grayson didn't do enough, and Tyler can easily just take control of the game now because he's got cards like Rakdos Return and Mizium Mortars that can just win him the game, whereas Grayson pretty much only has bonfires as the spells that can swing things.
Now we're going to see Hunt Master of the Fells here from Tyler. It's going to knock him up to 16 and give him a Wolf token. Grayson draws his card. I think he may have drawn a Hunt Master of his own, and we do know that he has a Restoration Angel in his hand, so he definitely has some cards to work with here as he's going to come across for 3 with the Borderland Ranger. The problem here is that his big splashy effects are unlikely to be as good as Tyler's are. He doesn't have a Mizium Mortars effect.
He does have Restoration Angel, which again is so powerful that it can win him the game on his own. With combination cards like Restoration Angel, and he does have a Gavany Township, but there's a Rakdos Return, so
I think he's going to cast that one.
My guess is he will cast it.
I think he's going to cast it right now. Yeah. It's going to be for 3, and there goes the grip again.
I'm surprised he didn't just do it for, maybe he has a Searing Spear in his hand.
We do know he has a Dreadbore in his hand.
Okay.
So he could go the full amount to get the other 2 points of damage.
Yeah, I probably would have just done 2 more damage. If you're not going to use this mana, you might as well just do 2 more damage. I don't love Dreadboring Thragtusk here, but again, if he's afraid of a top deck Restoration Angel, which happened in the last game, it's completely reasonable.
Yeah. And he is going to Dreadbore the first half of the Thragtusk here. So Grayson is going to get the Beast Token. And the reason he's doing that, I agree with you, is because he is afraid of a top deck Restoration Angel, which did happen in the last game that we watched.
Yeah, the only issue, though, is that now we can untap, attack, and activate Gavany Township.
Yep.
Which, it's... Tyler doesn't really have a good block if he just attacks the Borderland.
That's kind of the last piece of the puzzle, right? He's kind of overcome all the cards. He's overcome Thragtusk, most of the creatures in play. Now he's just got to overcome that last land as we see Garrett Relentless.
Wow, there it is. So now we can deal with the Huntmaster.
Yep, he said, I'm going to take that down, flip it over into Garrick the Veil Cursed, a card that we'll bring up for you guys really quickly because I think we all know what Garrick Relentless does, but the Veil Curse part of it, it's a little bit confusing.
And that's another reason why Tyler might have wanted to hold back that Dreadbore.
Sure.
Because a Primal Hunter could have...
Yeah, swings the game huge.
I'm surprised he's attacking. I'm surprised he didn't want to hold back and just let the Garrick uptick, because then he can start searching out Thragtusk.
Not only that, the Death Touch rules it can make are like a big deal too.
Yeah, I don't understand why he wouldn't hold his creature back. Unless he thinks that, oh, well, I'm sure Tyler just has a way to kill him.
Yeah, which he actually would have.
So, yeah, it wouldn't have mattered.
As you see, Amizium Mortars overloaded there, going to take care of Grayson's board. So now Grayson is playing off the top of his deck. He does have a Gavany Township in play. And Osip, I think this is when he draws Absence Pilgrim. Is this the time for that again?
I hope. One can only hope.
And he is just going to pass the turn here. And this is kind of the tough part for Grayson's because his top decks just aren't as good as Tyler's right now. And you're going to see another attack here for 5. It's going to put Grayson down to 5.
RC.
Right on time.
There we go.
Not on turn 2 ever.
Yeah, who needs it on turn 2?
But looks like he might be able to overcome it this match, which is, to me, it's surprising. It really is.
If your opponent is casting turn 2 Farseek and then turn 3 a Borderland Ranger, that's one of the ways you can get at it.
That's true. That is true.
And then doesn't cast another spell for the next 2 turns.
No. He does draw his card. We see a Rootbound Crag, and I think, yep, we see a Rootbound Crag. We see a Temple Garden. There's your Temple Garden. And Grayson is going to concede. Not even going to try to bluff the Restoration Angel because he knows that Tyler's going to come across. Tyler Lytle, Grand Prix San Antonio champion, currently 2-0 here at Star City Games Dallas.
And, he's obviously a good player. I think his deck choice is pretty reasonable. I'm not sure if he made any concessions for the Aura deck at all. I mean, he's got Abrupt Decays. Couldn't help.
Yeah, he's got 2 copies of that. He's got Golgari Charm, which is reasonable. But it doesn't look like he's made a ton of concessions to that deck, yeah.
I mean, 3 Amizium Mortars is... I don't know. I mean, yeah, 4 Liliana the Veil in the sideboard.
Yeah.
That's something.
He has 4 of those. He has an additional Golgari Charm in his sideboard. I mean, he doesn't have a ton of stuff, but I mean, how much do you want to overload to beat that one deck when, again, the format is so diverse? It's difficult to say how many cards you're supposed to sideboard in, or even put in your main deck for that deck. So he definitely has some game against it. Maybe not enough. I mean, we'll find out as the tournament runs its course. But so far, it doesn't matter, as he is 2-0 thus far in the tournament.
And Jund is one of those decks where you could easily just go undefeated as long as you draw the right cards in the right matchups. Obviously he doesn't want to draw Staff of Nin against Aura. But,
that's putting it nicely.
Yeah.